Hello, YouTube and the rest of the internet and my One Piece fans. So, chapter 1043 just came out. It is mind blowing. I know a lot of YouTubers have already made a video on it, but I wanted to put my thoughts out as well. So, this is gonna be my first chapter review or speculation video, 2 in 1. How about that? And I'm not going to focus on the whole chapter. Rather, I definitely want to focus on the last part. I know everyone's been freaking out, and there's been a lot of speculations here and there. Some of them are sort of crazy, some of them I don't like. But here's my thought on it. Okay, Luffy is melting. So what that means is, what I think that means is Devil Fruit Awakening. That is the Gomu Gomu no Mi awakening from its base form, and it's affecting the Straw Hat, which means it's doing what it's supposed to do. Like Doflamingo said, it's supposed to affect your surroundings, so it is. And now some of you might be asking, what does the liquidifying of Luffy has anything to do with rubber? So apparently, there's a stage of where base rubber is somehow somehow it goes through a process and like becomes stronger. It uses heat. It's melted down, and then when you reform it back, it becomes stronger. So that's probably a way that Oda's actually going with it. As for the rest of the whole thing, how we can speculate everything here and there. So here's my thought on it. Joyboy is here. Okay, Joyboy is here. It could be either by reincarnation or inherited will. So there's two sides of the coin. I don't want to believe the reincarnation thing because the community has been speculating that, well, reincarnation is a trope that's been pulled off a few times in shonen anime, especially with Naruto, and I personally am not a big fan of it. But if it happens, will it be like world ending? Is One Piece, gonna suck after that? Not really, no. But it's sort of like I've had such a bad taste for it that I don't actually want to see it ruin my favorite show. But even if it does happen, I am quite sure I believe in Oda that he will not mess it up. He will not mess it up. Yes, we've had a bad experience with Naruto and whatnot, but I don't think Oda would be doing something that would hamper the show. He's done nothing bad so far. I don't think he'd be doing anything that would ruin the show in the near future. At least that's what I think, but we'll see. So the other part of it, the inherited will thing, here's my theory on it. Um, well, we've discussed, I mean, the community has discussed that devil fruits have some sort of uh, a devil resides within a devil fruit. So that devil somehow influences the characteristics of how the user sort of uses the power or sort of matures up to the same way the devil would. There is some sort of this middle line thing between a person's soul and the devil, so that the person is shaped up to be somewhere in the middle. That's a theory. It's not confirmed, but based on that speculation, what I could say is the Gomu Gomu no Mi has a devil that sort of like had some sort of a connection with Joyboy. How is that true? Well, here's the thing. Now, there's also the other side of there's also the another part of this chapter. Did Luffy actually die? Well, like most people are saying that Luffy has died. Some of them are saying that he's not dead. He actually just got knocked out and then he just came back and whatnot. But him dying is actually not a bad idea, since what the surroundings suggest is when Luffy fell down from the roof after round two, when he fell down from the roof, Momo was the first one to say that the voice he still has his voice. Luffy has his voice. He's not concerned. But now he actually confirmed it that Luffy's voice is gone. And some of us are saying that it's observation haki, but Kaido also knows how to hear the voice of all things. has some bit of it, and Momonosuke definitely has it. So I think that's the voice of all things. It's more about Momo and everyone else understanding, who has the voice of all things, understand that when a person dies, their voice goes away. And they could feel a person's aura, aside from observation haki. Alright, it could be observation haki, but look, a lot of people, like Sanji is still out there, and Zoro is still out there. If it was observation haki, they would have felt it. They would have felt it in the second round, they would have felt it right now, they would have had something to say about it, but they did not. Which means it's the voice of all things. It's most likely the voice of all things. Now you're gonna say, okay, so you think Law has the voice of all things? Yes, maybe he's the will of D. He's the will of D, has the Ape Ape fruit. He knows stuff about, he wants to know about the will of D and everything. And yes, he hasn't been shown to use the voice of all things, but it is highly likely. It was never stated that he doesn't have it. If he does have it, he's showing it right now. Oda just showed it. And Momonosuke said the same thing. So I think it's the voice of all things that sort of stated that Luffy is sort of dead. So if Luffy died and then came back as a reincarnation of Joyboy and Sun God Nika, then Zunisha was right. I mean, Zunisha is right. Joyboy is back. And he said, I can hear the drums of revelation. So drums of liberation could literally mean the heartbeat of Joyboy sounds like the sound of revelation for him. Because Joyboy lived 800 years ago. Zunisha was a friend of Joyboy, and maybe Zunisha sort of connected with him in one way where they understood each other, and Zunisha sort of took Joyboy's heartbeat for a fact that it's Joyboy. Maybe he recognized that. So that's incredibly likely. So if it is a reincarnation pullout, I wouldn't mind it. I think Oda would do a good job with it. As for the Straw Hat melting, and we all know this is Awakening. We all know this is an Awakening. And I'm going to put this out right now. I think if Luffy is actually Luffy, which he probably is, he's probably going to call it Gear 5. And how do I know whether if it's called Gear 5 or some sort of an Awakening? Because we know Luffy doesn't name things too complicated. And he's going to call it Gear 5. It's a new form. He's going to call it that. And now, why does it have to be 5 gears? The community has been speculating Gear 5 ever since Gear 4 came out. Why does it have to be 5 gears? Because Gomu, Go is 5 in Japanese, so Luffy is likely to have 5 gears. That also coincides with his bounty at the end of the series that will involve the number 5 in one way or another. So that's that part. As for why Joyboy has now awakened after Luffy awakening his Devil Fruit, I think this is because it comes down to Devil Fruit lore. So when it comes to Devil Fruit lore, what we know so far is that Blackbeard is a prime example of having 2 devil fruits. We know if we have more than 1 devil fruit, the soul or the body will explode, the body will die. But Blackbeard has 2, and it's also been speculated that Blackbeard has multiple personalities, which I definitely believe. Because sometimes he acts this stupid guy who knows nothing, does reckless stuff, and then there's the other side of the coin where he's like this mastermind genius thing. He's plotted out his entire plan for 20 years and he's actually fulfilled everything step by step. So he has 2 separate personalities. Now you're gonna say, how does 2 separate personality has any relation to having 2 devil fruits? It could be said that Blackbeard has 2 souls, and 2 souls, and he has 2 devil fruits. That's the 2 devils. He actually has 2 souls and 2 devil fruits. That's how his body is actually living together. There is actually 2 souls to inhabit the 2 devil fruits. It could be 3, He might be looking for another, but not sure yet. That's another speculation where it's like Blackbeard. The number 3 is very prominent when it comes to describing Blackbeard. He's Jolly Lodger, and whenever you see him in like bounty posters, he has this three knotted beards, and he's 3 guns. It could be said that yes, he might have 3 personalities and 3 souls, which means he's gonna have a 3rd devil fruit, but that's beside the point. So what I'm trying to say is, if the devil fruit has some sort of a devil in it, so that once it goes inside a human person's body, that devil sort of connects with the soul, and that's how Khalifa and everyone else in like the CP9 got to know about the devil fruits immediately when they had it. It's sort of like the devil connecting with the soul and telling them that this is your power, this is how it works, and this is what it's called. So I think this is a step farther beyond that. So what my belief is that Joyboy did something to the Gomu Gomu no Mi that like allowed him to store his will some way, that when the rightful owner comes and awakens the devil fruit, he can actually come back with him to do whatever he wanted to do 800 years back, which he couldn't do. That is prominent because inherited will has always been there. Now you're gonna say, how could a person really do that? Well, we don't know that yet. Joyboy is special, we know he's special, and he might have a way to do it. And this inherited will comes from everywhere. Like Goldie, Roger, and Luffy are similar. The will of D itself has this will of D thing. That is like everyone in the will of D, the family of D, seeks some sort of a freedom in the world they live in. So I think it's highly likely that it's possible. Also, when you see Sabo taking Ace's Maramara no Mi, he sort of becomes like Ace a little bit, a little arrogant, but he somehow resonates with Ace. It just. Yes, I know they're both brothers of Luffy, they're supposed to be the same, but the similarity is uncanny. There is a slight difference in like changes of behavior once Sabo has the Maramara no Mi. So I think that is Joyboy's will coming back to life with Luffy and awakening it. Maybe the whole inherited will thing comes after awakening, or maybe it comes to the rightful owner. But as the Gorosei stated, the fruit, they've said it a few chapters back, that this fruit has not awakened in centuries, which means that maybe no one has been able to awaken the devil fruit. Maybe the rightful candidate is the only one, the bearer of will of D, someone who has like a pure heart and looks for like doesn't have any selfish reasons. They are sort of the only ones who can awaken the devil fruit. Maybe it's something like that. Maybe it's something like that. I mean, I don't know, but it's purely speculation. So here's the point. The point is Luffy was the perfect candidate for it. He has the will of D. He seeks freedom. He has almost no selfish desires aside from freedom, and he helps everyone around him. He is an influence to everyone he meets, good or bad. And, well, maybe he was the perfect candidate who was allowed to awaken the devil fruit that allowed Joyboy to come back again. Alright. Moving on, not from this, but another logic behind it is Wano itself. Wano, we've seen, has talked about this thing that souls can come back and souls can like come back and fulfill things that they didn't do before, and the whole thing of the dead coming back and fulfilling their wishes. I think it also lines up very well, and since like Kaido, so why does it have to be Wano? I mean, why does it have to be Wano? Sengoku said the same thing. Why does every influential people have to come together in Wano? I think that Kaido has also chosen Wano as the base of operations because he thinks that there's something special inside Wano that would help him to become Joyboy or to help him to find the next Joyboy. Maybe that would be the case, and it's very mind-boggling that after all this time, like, it's Wano that's the place that made Luffy and the Joyboy, that like the Kozuki clan were making the poneglyphs in Wano. They're part of Wano, and this whole soul reincarnation thing is also a thing in Wano. So Everything lines up pretty well, and I can't complain. I cannot complain. And another thing beyond that, you would say, okay, if that's the case, then Law awakened his devil fruit, Kid awakened his devil fruit. Why weren't they changed? Maybe it's something only special to the Gomu Gomu no Mi. Because if it were not the case, Gorosei wouldn't be so, messed up about it. They wouldn't just immediately order CP0 to murder Luffy. So, that's something. Following that up, do I have a better point to prove? Not really, because everything is up in the air. These are all the speculations we have, and I think this is about to get very crazy. What I want to end at, I want to end it with the fact that, well, I sort of went brain dead. I'm sorry about that. I want to end it with the fact that it could be either reincarnation, it could be inherited will, but whatever it is, we have to trust Oda on this and know that it's whatever it is will be the best for the series. And as for where my theory ends, where I end, I what I want personally is the devil fruit having the devil inside it, which had some part of Joyboy in it, and that allowed Luffy to awaken the devil fruit by meeting certain criterias, and now he's become Joyboy because he's met the criteria and he's awakened the devil fruit. And that's where I would want to stop. And this sort of perfectly makes sense. Now, another thing that just popped up in my head just a few minutes back before I started making the review is that after all this time, like really, Luffy has been prevalent in the series for the past 2 years in the story timeline. Why is it now that the Gorosei are interested to take back the Gomu Gomu no Mi? That is crazy. And this is where I'm gonna put a cliffhanger in, and for you guys to think about in the comment sections below. Why is it that after Shanks came to Marijo's, talked with the Gorosei about a certain pirate, that the Gorosei are now interested in the Gomu Gomu no Mi? That's where I'd like to stop. Thank you all for watching. I'll be coming up with more speculations and theories in the future. See you next time.